Howdy folks, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be doing another episode of World in Flames Collector's Edition, Days of Decision 3 Combined Game Playthrough. This is the upcoming turn is going to be the September-October turn. The potential weather for this turn can be pretty decisive, especially on the Eastern Front. The Russians call this, especially October, that's when General Mud can appear, and it might live up to its name. Other than that, I think the convoy situation in the Atlantic is starting to get a little critical for the British, or the Commonwealth rather. They still have a few convoy points left over that are extra at this point. But they've had to shrink a few of their convoy lines, so they're getting less resources than they used to. But even so, their production's still hitting 14 to 18 every turn. So it's not like the U-boats are absolutely cutting out all their production. What else did I want to mention? I think that's about... U.S. entry. So I went over U.S. entry. And U.S. entry is actually dropped. It's dropped below the point where the U.S. can get a second U.S. entry option. And the reason for that is that the U.S. has been extremely politically active. 2 treaty levels with the Free French and a minor alliance with Brazil and a gear up has definitely put the it's definitely put the hurt on U.S. entry. Because all those points come off in a straight line. They're not divided by 2 like all the others are. So the U.S. is going to kind of be muted a little while. Let the U.S. entry build back up again, which it's going to. Because now every U.S. entry rule has at least a +2 to it. So the U.S. entry will get back there. Just take a few turns. And this was kind of... the strategy the U.S. wanted to pursue for this game was to be very politically active and get a lot of things in place before the U.S. actually ends up in war. So, we'll see how it turns out. All right, let's go take a look at starting money. Get the starting money right here. We have Germany at 1, Japan at 2, Italy at 0, the USSR at -1. Commonwealth at 0, U.S. at 0, and China at 0, and the Free French are at -3. I've put in bids for the major powers. I want to get some political options this turn. Oh, and we also have 2 major powers at O political options. Both the Soviets and the Commonwealth O, aligned minor. Though only one of them is going to get it. And, yeah, so I have 4 major powers bidding. Germany, the Commonwealth, Japan, and the Soviets are all bidding for political options, and they're all bidding 1. So let's go over to the status display and the initiative track and see how this turns out. Okay, so we have Germany bidding 1. They're going to get a +3 for their 3rd place. First things first. They're going to get a +3 from their last turn's political position. So that's going to give them 4. That's going to put them in at 1st. The Commonwealth is bidding 1. They're getting a +2. And Japan's bidding 1. They're getting a +2. That's a tie. Well, that's going to be broke by the political effectiveness. We see the Commonwealth is a 6 and Japan is a 4. So the Commonwealth will be in 2nd. Japan will be in 3rd. And the final bidder is the Soviet Union with a 1 + 1 is 2. That'll put them in at 4th. Last card on the Germans. Last card on the Soviets. Now, for the non-bidding major powers, we have the U.S. at 4. That'll be 5th for them. The Free French at 3. That'll be 6th for them. The Italians at 1. That'll be 7th for them. And the Chinese at 0. That'll be 8th for them. So, first up is the Germans. Let's go see what they want to do. Germany's going to play Recognize the Ukraine. Okay, she may only play this option if she either controls Kiev. Oh, she does control Kiev, so she can play the option. This is going to reduce Germany's PE by 2 and increase the Soviets by 1. The Ukraine becomes a German colony with Kiev as its capital. All blue factories in the Ukraine not yet railed out. I think there's only one that's railed out. I think that's Kharkov. Become red for the rest of the game. The rest of this doesn't apply because that would be if the Soviets and the Germans were neutral. Place 2 German infantry units if available. We are playing with the units Politics and Flames, so we're going to switch those with 2 Ukrainian units. And all remaining Ukrainian units are added to the German force pool. And that's about it. So I'm going to do that. And there's a bunch of options here to put out. I think like 90% of these are not even going to happen. And the U.S. entry is a +9. So again, the money cost is 10. So you can see from just playing this one option, Germany's U.S. entry is going to bounce right back up again. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and I'll come right back, and Germany will get to activate a minor. Okay, Germany's going to activate Argentina. So I'm going to grab the markers, come over here to the status display. Adjust the stand here because it's about to fall over. There we go. Alright, so we got a 1 Commonwealth and a 3 German. So the 1 Commonwealth doesn't do anything. We'll just get rid of that guy. And the 3 German, well, Argentina's here, Germany's down here this way, so it's 2 for the hex, 1 for the boundary. That moves Argentina into the fascist ideology. And the Germans, Japanese, and Italians are very, very happy about that. Alright, we don't roll to end the political phase, so we'll move down to the Commonwealth. And let's go see what they want to do. Actually, we don't have to go see what they want to do. They owe a line minor. They're going to pay that. They've already paid the money. They have already put out all the markers. So the only thing they really have to do is activate a minor. Now, it is getting extremely problematic to find minors to activate. Let's see, Commonwealth. Let's see, who can we activate? Well, we could activate Brazil, I guess. I don't really want to do that. That's not going to do anything. I don't want to activate Spain. I got a -2 in Spain. I think the Commonwealth is going to activate Mexico. Now, I'm not even going to go to the status display because we have a -1 German and a -1 US. So that's just basically going to get blown off. So what I will do is I'll stop right here and we'll roll a die to see if the Commonwealth ends the political phase. If they do. They needed a 1. They rolled a 1. That's it for the political phase. So the Japanese and the Soviets will get bonus bid points for next turn. I also have to adjust the markers. The Soviets go up 1. The Germans go down 2 for the play of the Ukraine. So now the Soviets are going to get 6 bonus bid points, and the Japanese will get 3 bonus bid points. So I will be back shortly. I got to straighten out all the reinforcements and put them out. And we'll take a look at that, and then we'll roll initiative and weather, and we will proceed from there. Alright, we'll take a look at reinforcements. There is the Soviet reinforcements, whole ton of militia, as usual. We have a Free French transport. We got a bunch of ships coming in for the Commonwealth, but unfortunately for them, no convoy points, just a tanker point. The U.S. is getting another battleship, the Massachusetts, some CAGs. I believe those 2 fighters there on the end, I think those are Lend-Lease, or they can be Lend-Leased. The Italians are getting 3 cruisers going in a construction pool. The Commonwealth is getting 5. And the Germans got a couple of combat air groups, militia, 2 militia, one of them's, I believe, Romanian, and 5 offensive points and 3 pilots. So that's the reinforcements. Let's head over here. We're going to roll initiative real quick, and then we're going to roll the all-important weather die roll. Okay, so initiative is blue, white, red. That's democracy, fascists, and the communists. The communists have a -1, and the fascists have a +2 for modifiers. All right, the Democrats definitely won. Oops. They definitely won with a 10. But the fascists beat the communists again. Let's see. The weather is like, we have a +1 to the weather roll. The weather is likely to be, there's a 60% chance the weather is going to be crap in the Arctic zone. I don't really want to give up the +2. Actually, I got to get my lines straightened out. Yeah, with the democracies want to go first because they want to get their fleets out and keep the Kriegsmarine bottled up in Brest. So after that, I guess we're going to go fascists and then communists. So the communists will be last in this impulse. So now we're going to roll a weather die. Take a look at the weather chart over here. There is a +1 to this die. And it is this column right here. September, October. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's a 10. We're going to have storm in the Arctic, storm in the North Temperate, rain in the Mediterranean, storm in North Monsoon, rain in South Monsoon, but fair in South Temperate. Ooh, there's a +2 to the weather roll for the next set of impulses, and the impulse marker will move up 2. So looking at this, I would say almost most of the German army is out of supply right now. So I'm going to get all this noted down, and when we come back, we'll go through the first set of impulses. I got to put the reinforcements on the map too, but we'll go through the first set of impulses. So I finished the democracy's impulse. The Chinese nationalists are good where they are. They like the fact that they got, what, storm or rain in both zones, and so that means that nothing's going to really happen there. The U.S. paid its 2 oil, and it moved its 3 oil-dependent units. And that was that for them. And what else do we got? We got... well, when we get to the fascists, they got their U-boats out. But anyways, the Commonwealth sorted their fleet into the Bay of Biscay. There'll be no air missions in the North Temperate because of storm. They did, however, choose not to sortie the Med Fleet. They're going to keep it in reserve. Just going to leave it there for now. That was about it for the democracies. The Free French didn't really have anything to do. The democracies have the same problem that the fascists do. Whatever they move it too far, it's just going to flip over. So they chose not to move anything. Down here in the Med, the Italians could have an attack. Unfortunately, it's in the rain zone, which means it's going to be 2 column shifts to the left, which is no good. Not going to roll dice that automatically guarantee Italian units die. On the Syrian Turkish front, nothing really happened. We moved on to the fascists, and like I said, the Germans got the U-boats out. Nothing happened down here in Bulgaria. However, the Bulgarians are still holding on. Over here on the Eastern Front, the Germans actually had to retreat a little bit for units they could. They have a bunch of stuff that's out of supply, especially up here in the north. So those units basically just didn't even move. They do have some headquarters up there, but supply is sketchy at best. So I think that basically wrapped it up for the fascist turn. All we have to do is roll a die to see if there's going to be any kind of U-boat action here in the Faroes Gap. Roll some search dice. Alright, let me adjust this stand a little bit. There we go. Oh, let's see. 7. Did they find anybody? No. They found no one. So that will be the first U-boat committed. The Germans chose not to send anything out to the North Atlantic this turn. And I think that's it for the fascist impulse. We'll move on to the communists. I'm sure the Soviets got lots of stuff to do. And I'm going to do that, and I'll come back with a summary of what they did. Okay, so the Soviets finished up, and it looks to me like they're sketching together a line. Big giant holes everywhere, but hey, at least they're trying to put together something. That was it for them. We're going to move back to the democracies, and we're going to roll weather, and I'll be right back. Alright, weather roll. Let's see what we get for weather. And it's another bad weather roll. They rolled an 8, which is a +2. Comes out to be a 10. Now we're going to have the... Oh, actually, I think that's the same weather. It's the same weather as last turn. So we got the exact same weather as last turn. So I'm going to run through the... I'll probably run through the whole impulse and come back with just a summary. No, I'll have to come back on the fascists because we might have a U-boat action. Okay, back in the Faroes Gap. And a 5 and an 8. Nobody found anybody. So yet again, another failure for the Germans. The Russian front is basically, it is General Mud. General Mud has appeared, and the German advance has slowed to literally a crawl. In some places, it's actually gone back. But they finally made it all the way to Leningrad, but not much further. And yeah, we're down to a crawl. I thought the Germans might get an attack, and it was right here. But after I adjusted the odds for weather, it would be 1-to-1. Nah, I don't really think the Germans want to make any 1-to-1 attacks. Even on the Blitzkrieg table, it's bad. Unless you roll like a 10. So I'm not going to bother with that. We're just trying to get supply up to the point where we can actually advance a little bit, but it's not going too quick. Not going too quick at all. Alright, so I'm going to do the communist impulse, and I'll come back with the Democrats and their this recent impulse. They didn't do much of anything. They're pretty happy with bad weather. Alright, just finished the Soviet impulse, and yeah, the line is starting to thicken up. It's still pretty thin down here. Really isn't much that the Soviets can do about that at this point, but I mean, with the fact that their army basically got liquidated in one turn, so they actually have units on the board, which is amazing. As long as the weather stays crappy, they should be okay. Alright, so the last thing that the Soviets can do is they can roll to end the impulse, end the turn rather, because this is the first impulse it can end. Yeah, it's going quick. So they need a 1. A 7 doesn't do it. We'll move on to the democracies and their weather roll. Okay, weather roll. We have a +2. Okay, 5 + 2 is 7. That's going to be rain, rain, fair, fair. So I'm going to mark that down. The impulse marker still moves up 2, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, the democracies don't need to do anything. They're going to pass. That's going to give a +1 to end the impulse, end the turn. And they rolled a 1. The turn is over. Stalin is celebrating in Moscow with gallons of vodka because this pretty much saved him. If the weather had gone clear even one turn, the Germans likely would have disintegrated whatever was left that the Russians had built up for a line. So I got to do partisans, U.S. entry, and then production. I'll probably be back with production. For U.S. entry this turn, we ended up with a +1 for Germany, a +2 for Italy, and a +5 for Japan. Okay, partisans, we could have ended up with a partisan in Burma, but the roll was too high. And we could have ended up with partisans in China. Even though they succeeded, there's no place to put them because of zones of control. Okay, so now production. Production for this turn. We had Germany. Germany produced 41. Started with 31 and spent 29. We had Japan. Japan produced 21. Started with 22 and spent 20. Italy produced 10. Started with 10 and spent 10. The Soviets produced 24. They have 3 factories that are still in process of railing. That's why their production's a little bit low. And they still have a gear up next year too. So that's a couple reasons right there. They started with 22. They got 4 Lend-Lease, and they spent 23. The Commonwealth produced 17. Their production came back nicely thanks to a turn where nothing happened. They started with 16 and spent 19. The U.S. produced 22. Actual production was 29. 7 were sent out in Lend-Lease. Started with 22 and spent 20. The Chinese produced 3, started with 3 and spent 4. They're building an artillery unit. The Free French got 3 Lend-Lease, produced 1 for a total of 4, started with 1 and spent 5. So that'll do it for production. I'll get these new units on the circle. I'd like to thank you for watching, even though this was kind of a short turn. Like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. I enjoy that. And see you next time.